friend. Welcome to the Fruitful Fertility Podcast. Do you want to better understand your body so you can get pregnant naturally? Do you find yourself up late at night Googling how to ovulate on your own or natural fertility tips? Do you feel lost on what your next step should be? Hey, I'm Tori, a registered nurse, Christian fertility coach, and your new TTC BFF. When I started my fertility practice, I realized how much the modern medical system was missing when it came to supporting women trying to get pregnant. I knew God had called me to this space to bridge that gap and provide more natural fertility support and education. With time and a little trial and error, I found a foundational way to assess infertility cases and get better results. In this podcast, you will finally understand how your body and fertility work, support to stay off that emotional roller coaster, and a proven strategy to improve ovulation and increase your fertility naturally. If you're ready to get started, drop those ovulation sticks and grab a pen because, girl, you look fertile to me. I have really cool news. In the last 2 days, I have gotten messages from 2 different women who have become pregnant by taking Rise and Source for 2 months. So a lot of twos there. 2 women, 2 months, both pregnant from Rise and Source, which is really, really cool. So I'm not going to dive into that a little bit today, but I had to say that. I had to get that announcement out there because it doesn't feel like a coincidence. It really feels like we have found something that is truly working, and that feels amazing because when I just found Rise and Source a few months ago, maybe 4 months ago, and I did a 30-day challenge with some clients, and 2 of these women were in that 30-day challenge. And I really wanted answers for myself. I wanted my own proof of concept. Even though I loved the science, I loved what they were telling me their company was all about, what they were capable of. It is so cool to see it come to fruition and just it working. So those links to shop Rise and Source are in the show notes, but that is not what we're going to talk about today. But I did have to share that. Today we are going to talk about cycle charting, and the reason I bring up those 2 testimonials and kind of transitioning into this topic is because one of those women told me that she quit cycle charting for the month. And in episode 100, I gave you a 30-day challenge, and one of the things in that challenge was to quit cycle charting for the month. And this has been on my heart for a while, and I've just had a hard time saying it because there's so much science behind cycle charting and, the Creighton method, and it's such good information, right? Like our periods can truly tell us so much about what's going on inside our body, and I don't want to take away from that. But what I keep finding from working with you guys and looking at your intake forms and your personalities and the things that you're struggling with is this, we're type A perfectionist control freaks. That is a word someone used on their intake form, not me. But we are obsessing over these strips, and I think it is truly doing us more harm than good in the long run. And so there's so much science behind it. There's so many benefits to it, but I can't ignore the fact that taking it off the table might be more beneficial. So I'm not here to say that cycle charting is not important. I'm not here to say that the methods don't work, that there's not science behind the things you can find from your period and your cycle. But I do want to talk about the importance of taking it off your plate if it is fitting, okay? So I want to talk today about, should you take a break from cycle charting? Now, if you are one of these type A people, checklist people, I'm a checklist person, so I get it. You may not love this idea. You may be like, no, I'm going to keep cycle charting because I need to know when my fertile window is because I need to hit it and I need to plan. And that's okay, but I want you to kind of wrestle with these questions I'm going to ask you today. And try to decide if maybe you just need to take a break, even just 1 month off. This isn't something you have to take off the table forever, but maybe just 1 month. But I want to challenge you to take it off the table for 3 months. I love 3s. I'm all about 90 days, giving something 90 days. Conception Connection is a 90-day plan to improve your fertility through lifestyle changes and habits. The HTMA Fertility Bundle is a 90-day plan to get your results and get a protocol that is created for you and stick to that plan for 90 days. I really think we can make huge change in 3 months. I know sometimes taking the natural route makes it seem like it's going to take forever, but it really could only take 90 days, sometimes less. These 2 women that I'm talking about is 60 days. So let's just talk about 3 questions. I'm going to go through 3 questions, and I want you to tell me if the answer is yes or no. and help you decide if this is something you should take off your plate. A lot of times improving our fertility is not about doing more, it's actually about doing less. Okay, so number 1 is, have you been charting for 3 to 4 months or more? So 3 to 4 months is a really good time to get a really good gauge of when you typically ovulate, how long your cycles are, to really get a gauge for it. So I kind of like to compare it to using a GPS. The first 2-3 times you drive somewhere this long distance, you probably need your GPS. You need it all those times. After that, you should be able to get there without your GPS. And I say this as someone who is extremely directionally challenged. So this isn't even a good metaphor for me to use, because I'll be using my GPS forever. But you get the idea. You get what I'm saying here. So if you have been charting for more than 3 or 4 months, I want you to take a break. I almost demand it. I can't make you. I can't come pull the ovulation sticks out of your hands, but I want to. So if you've been charting for 3 or 4 months or more, it's time to take a break. Number 2, can you predict your fertile window without it? Do you know the signs of your fertile window without using any ovulation strips? I can, and that's not like a flex, and I'm not bragging, but I don't really need ovulation strips because I know when I'm ovulating. I can tell by my cervical mucus. I'm just very aware of my cycle and where I am energy-wise and all the things. So can you do it without the ovulation sticks? Because I bet you can. Now, if you are someone who has an irregular period, I have a few podcast episodes on that, so I highly recommend going back and listening to that. But if you have an irregular period, this is an even bigger reason for you to just not cycle chart, because it's going to feel very stressful to try to catch your fertile window and try to figure out if you're ovulating or all the things. I want you to just focus on regulating your period first. And the more regular your period becomes, then we can start cycle tracking. But first, just work on those foundations to get your period regular. If you need help with that, come inside the Conception Connection. We'll get you regulated, girl. But if you can you predict your fertile window without it? I'd be willing to bet the answer is yes. Because again, GPS, you have the GPS on, but you know how to get there. You don't really need the GPS on. You just turn it on out of comfort. The same with the ovulation predictor kits. Number 3 is, does the information feel like too much? Is it overwhelming? In a lot of these like fertility Facebook groups, I see that this is like the majority of some of the questions. Do you think I ovulated? What do you think this line means? Is this line dark enough? It creates too much information to where like you are stressing out about something based on these strips. So what if we just took the strips out of the picture and you were just waiting to see if you had cervical mucus that month? If I have suggested the Aneto for forever, because it really is just the coolest little contraption. It's your ovulation predictor. It tells you your hormone levels. It confirms ovulation. It is really stinking cool. And it's nothing against this company. I have promoted them for forever. I feel like it's a very cool tool, but I feel like only if you use it for a short time. If you are using it month after month after month after month and obsessing over the numbers, you are just creating so much stress within yourself. And I want you to take that off your plate. So this is personal. When you look at the information, does it feel empowering or does it feel overwhelming, like it's too much information? If you have answered yes to at least 2 of those questions, it's time to put the ovulation sticks down. It's really time to take a break from the cycle charting. And here's what I want you to do. If you're like, okay, yeah, I probably do need to take a break. This is what I want you to do. If you have been charting for 3 months, if you've been charting for 3 months or more, you can predict your fertile window without it, and the information feels overwhelming, I want you to take 3 months off. You can come back in 3 months. Do this in 90-day cycles. 90 days you chart, 90 days you quit. 90 days you chart, 90 days you quit. Another option would be to track just one thing. So track just your cervical mucus. You do not need ovulation kits for that. You could just make a mental note, like in your journal, on your planner, when you're having cervical mucus, on your period app, whatever you want to use. You could also consider Temp Drop. Temp Drop is a little armband that goes on your arm. You sleep in it, and it's taking your temperature, your basal body temperature for you. So if you're one of the people that, you put your basal body thermometer on your nightstand and you're trying to remember to take your temperature in the morning before you move, but then you got up and went to the bathroom, so now you can't take your temperature for that day, and it's just kind of like this hassle. This is just something you could sleep in, and it's taking your temperature for you. So that could be a really easy one thing to track. You're just tracking your temperature or your cervical mucus, but we're not using the ovulation predictor kits. We're not using the strips. So this is a really quick, speedy episode because I really would just want to touch on this topic lightly, and we might dive into it a little bit deeper later. But for now, I just really think, I feel strongly that maybe there's a lot of you that need to take the cycle charting off the table. So again, let me recap these questions for you. Have you been charting for 3 to 4 months or more? Can you predict your fertile window without it? And does the information feel like too much? Is it overwhelming? I really want you to sit with those questions and pray about it. And maybe we don't cycle chart this month. Maybe we don't. And if you do that, I want you to let me know how you feel. Like, message me on Instagram, come in the free Facebook group and tell us about it. I want you to tell me if it feels better, if it feels worse, what you're thinking. Like, let's do this in real time and see if this is really something that's valuable to our fertility journey. Because so often it feels like it needs to be textbook. We cycle chart and we take these supplements and we time intercourse at this time and this. Like, it just feels so textbook. And I feel like that's one thing that, like, I'm not about textbook. I'm about what actually works. And sometimes that's going against what we've been taught. So we're going to do it together. So take cycle charting off the table for a little bit. Tell me how you feel. And let's keep going together. I'll see you next week. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If this episode touched your heart or taught you something, I'd be honored if you share it with a friend who could use the information too. And if you want to be the real MVP, then would you also take 30 seconds to tap those 5 stars at the bottom and leave a written review telling me what you're loving? It lights me up to know this podcast is really helping you. Don't forget, you're super cute and super fertile, so meet me back here next week and let's keep chatting and learning together.